Okay, well, let's get going, and we'll start, we're going to have a beer board meeting tonight. We're going to start by saying the pledge of allegiance, and I'll turn it over to Vice Mayor and Secretary. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Over to you, Vice Mayor.
Okay, welcome everybody. It's chilly out. So thank you all for coming. We will open the beer board meeting at 7:02. So we have one application for a beer permit. This is an on-premises permit with Big Bear Group LLC, and the applicant is Miss Erin Anderton and Edward Huddick. Okay. All right, and they are the new owners of Little River Pub and Deli. So they already have their business license with us, and Doug also made sure to check the footage, the distance between the pub and the closest church. They're further enough away from the school already, so that ended up being about 240 feet. So they're good there. Ms. Anderton, would you like to come up and say anything, or if you have any questions for us, or?
Hi. So we have recently purchased Little River Pub and Deli from Jenny. Many of you know Jenny and Steve have owned it for 5 years. And my commitment to Jenny was to continue what she and her husband had pictured, not only for the pub, but for participating in the community. So I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you so much. Well, it sounds like nothing is changing. It'll be business as usual on their end, as Jenny was running it before. So, Chief, did you have a chance to look at this, look it over? Okay.
I didn't see any thing that would prohibit them from getting their permit.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Oh, good question. Is the menu the same? You adding things or changing?
Seems to be the question of the day. We are adding things to the menu, so we didn't want to shock the community and just wipe out the entire menu. So we're adding salad bar with Catalina dressing. So we'll have a salad bar. We're adding regular specials. We're proposing an Italian night. We're going to have fish fry on Fridays, mozzarella sticks, wings, and things like that during the games. We are adding a big screen up in the back room so we can have UT and not Auburn on all the time. So yes, we are. And what we actually, I just texted a friend of mine. The mayor has a great idea of having a menu special each month that's a recipe from someone local. So we'll start putting out some ideas on the Towns Night page, suggesting some menus, maybe the person who won the chili kickoff, and I know people are sensitive to giving out their recipes, but we'll definitely offer it and feature it. And then maybe at the end of the 12 months, have a Townsend cookbook created for everybody. Give it out over Christmas.
You need to let her do a chocolate pie for you.
Sold. So yes, we've got a lot of plans to update the menu and make it a lot more, and we will never be closed in January again.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Anderton.
You're welcome.
Are there any further questions? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve this beer permit for Big Bear Group LLC for Little River Pub and Deli?
I make a motion to approve the beer permit for Little River Pub and Deli.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. If there's no more discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. All right, thank you so much. Ms. Anderton, as soon as Gayla is back in the office, then she'll get that beer permit over to you, and she'll give you a call when it's ready.
Thank you all so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll close the beer board meeting at 7:06 and give it back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Vice Mayor Satterfield. Okay, now will take us into our regular agenda, Commissioners. First item up are the minutes from our last meeting on December the 17th. You all have had these minutes for a while to take a look at to see if there's anything that needs correction or any omissions that need to be added. I'll give you all just another minute to look over it one more time, and then I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve the minutes from our last meeting on December the 17th.
I'm going to refrain for voting on those minutes since I was not here.
And so is I.
Okay?
And we're in the attendance portion of the minutes, so we
It
ready
said it
to
was
go.
not, it said we were not here. And if you read.
Oh, we're absent.
Yes, we're
Sorry,
absent.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mayor, if y'all had any questions on minutes or like, Gayla stuff, like finances, where, if you just let me know and I'll make notes for us, and then that way I can pass them on to her tomorrow or when she's back.
Will do. Thanks, Chief. All right. Commissioners who were present, may I have a motion and a second to approve our minutes from December the 17th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 17th.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any thing that needs to be added or corrected in the minutes of our meeting? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, none opposed, the minutes are approved.
Do we have the minutes for your January 3rd meeting? No.
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll find out.
I did not see them in the packet. I came here and let me look through it. I did not see that.
Okay, Chief, there's one for Gabe. You can ask her about the minutes from our January the 3rd special call.
I didn't hear her mention that at all, I'm not sure, so, but I'll ask her.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Commissioner Jenkins. Okay, let's go. We don't have a city manager here tonight. Chief, anything that she left? Okay.
Just, I think one quick thing, so I put the, I think it's, let's see, it's toward the back, should be the last page, not the last page, but right before the last page, that ordinance you're gonna vote on, there should be the, I went ahead and made everybody copies in case they want to see it, but the beer permit application for a portion of the Chambers, Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival, the festival's already approved. This was just basically an addendum. That they didn't have this portion of the paperwork turned in yet, so we're just putting it in there. There's nothing you have to vote on, it's just letting you know that it's been turned in along with the permit fee for the beer, so just stuck that in
For
there.
the Bigfoot Festival that we already approved.
Yeah, already approved. This was just basically a follow-up to that. That's their paperwork for the beer portion, and which of course they qualify for, and then Tammy gave me a check to leave for Gala for the fee.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
All right, Commissioners, the city manager has provided the operating statement for your review. Chief, were you going to walk us through that, or you want me to walk us through the operating statement?
Yeah, she didn't make me aware of anything out of the ordinary on it, but it looks like on the sales tax, we budgeted right at just under 113,000 for the month, and we came in at just under 100,000. So came in a little bit less this is for December than what we had budgeted. But I think for the year, we're still quite a bit ahead. So, but again, she didn't really give me any, I don't think she was
Okay.
filling up to saying a whole lot, but she didn't give me anything, or let me know if there was anything out of the ordinary other than just normal operating costs for the month.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting that. All right, so Commissioners, you've had these operating figures for a while. We do this every month. We take a look at our budget. I would agree with Chief. That's probably the most significant item to highlight. Looks like we were ahead a little bit on court costs, fines, and costs. That's the main thing I see there. And let's see. Don't see anything else unusual that catches my eye to highlight for you. But I'll pause and see if y'all have any questions or anything that y'all have found in your review.
I got several questions.
Okay,
Unfortunately, I was snowbound, so I spent a lot of time looking at this.
okay, that's good.
Okay.
That's good.
On city attorney, year-to-date, our budget is $6,000, and you spent $11,740. So I'm trying, in my mind, trying to figure out what's the difference, right? And whether we should be doing something about that.
Well, I think we discussed that last month as well, and I'll say again that I'm concerned about that. We have had to consult with city attorney on numerous occasions, more than we have usually. And so we've had city attorney attend at least 3 or 4 of our meetings. And so when he travels to Townsend, we pay him for his travel costs. And I am concerned that our city attorney bill is going up. But I also think that he has been providing guidance to us on a number of different issues. So commissioners have had more questions than they usually have. And I think I don't have any issue with the guidance, that what we've gotten for our money, but it is a trend, and it's a trend that concerns me. And so we need to make sure that we have ability to ask questions to city attorney. Now, one of the things that we've talked about is what our process is for actually engaging the city attorney. Part of this has to do with the money. Right now, if commissioners have questions that you need to get answered by the city attorney, I've asked that those questions come either from me or from the city manager. And that way, if we already sort of know the knowledge, we won't have to engage the city attorney. We can answer commissioners' questions that way. And it helps us to probably, prioritize those things a little bit, because it is expensive. And so I hope that at this point, the guidance that we've gotten over the last several meetings, we have had some very, challenging technical questions that have come up. We have new ordinances that we're trying to put in place. We had B3 come up. We've had things come up at Board of Zoning Appeals, things that, we haven't seen in the last few years. We are seeing some different things. My sense is we are probably, when we do our budget, we probably need to budget for more city attorney time, because the amount that we've had in the past is probably not going to be the amount of service that we need in the future. But having said that, I do think that when we get guidance from the city attorney, we ought to think about how to use that and make it broadly applicable. We don't want to be asking the same question or a similar question. So we need to be sure that we're, when we ask city attorney a question, that we can take that advice and, use it to guide us on multiple issues if possible. So that's my observation on that. I don't know if commissioners have any other observations.
I got another question. Further down the page, it says year-to-date we spent $29,000 on the community plan. We have nothing budgeted for it. To me, that's concerning that we spent money we didn't have budgeted.
Yeah, so when we approved the expenditure for the community plan, that was approved by the Board of Commissioners, and the last Board of Commissioners, it was agreed that we would, until we had the next opportunity to do a budget amendment, that we would take that out of our operating. So we were running surpluses at that time, and that was the approach. But I agree with you, and this is why in those priorities that we discussed on the 3rd, that we need to be more intentional about our budget formulation, and we need to try to look down the road a little bit. Now, This one was not baked into the budget, but we do need to have it baked in at this point because we're already well into that. But the expenditure was approved by the Board of Commissioners, but it was not reflected in sort of what we had budgeted in our budget for this cycle, but we need to get it in there.
Which it is on to amend tonight. The community plan is on our ordinance 344-241C to
Yes, it
amend
is. Yes, it
the
is.
budget.
Okay. Another question, bottom of page 2. It's, there's an item there called equipment purchase. And it says we've got a budget of $28,000, and we haven't spent any of it. So I'm curious what we're going to spend it on, or could we use that to pay the $29,000 community plan expenditure?
We were holding on to that. We are going to have some new lawnmowers, and that is in our equipment budget. We really do need a bucket truck, so that's where those things come out for maintenance.
Okay. There's one more. No, I'll get off on it. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Jenkins. That's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. We have to be good stewards of our money. We have limited revenues for the city of Townsend. You all know that. We get primarily our revenue from sales tax and other different types of tax. We don't have a property tax, and so it's important that we be intentional about our budget and that we try to stay within it and be good stewards of it. So thank you, Commissioner Jenkins, for those questions. Any other questions? Okay, if there's no further questions, I'll ask if we can approve the finance report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the finance report is approved. Next item, Chief, is there anything else from City Manager report?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right, next item is maintenance report.
I'm
Mr.
going to
Chair?
steal that before Jason takes that.
Sorry.
If you don't mind. I just want to give out a shout out to Mr. Bryant, Mr. Truex that came in on Friday. It's Mr. Truex's day off. He came in and made sure that the roads were salted before the snow hit. And I want to give a shout out to Mr. Jones, who came in at 11:30 that night and salted the roads and scraped them and got home around 4, and to Officer Smiley, who worked that day too. And thank you to everybody out there watching on Facebook or social media for staying off our roads. The fire department had no calls that night, and it was very wonderful. So thank you to our citizens for staying off the highway. As the fire department, as the city, we so appreciate it. And then I will turn it over to Mr. Jones for any questions about maintenance.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry if we woke anybody up. I know it's loud coming through, so we're just making sure all the roads were safe for people that morning. So everything's going good. I know I talked to Don about the sidewalks up here. You know, TDOT is doing all that, and all the barriers and stuff that they got, that's just temporary till they get done doing what they're doing. And I think that's about it.
All right.
Everything else is pretty good.
Thanks, Mr. Jones, and thanks, Commissioner Martin, Commissioner of Streets and Maintenance. So thank you very much for that.
Quick question on the sidewalk part.
I was just about to address that. What's happening at the upper end there? I've gotten so many questions about it this week. So I'll take a shot and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Jones if I get anything wrong on that. Our understanding is that TDOT is beginning a project to improve the ADA compliance of the sidewalks. And so, as you all know, we have two ways to get up and down the street. We have bike path on one side, we have sidewalks on the other, it's a little flatter on one side. And so people with mobility issues and things like that, they tend to use that side of the street. It's a little bit flatter over there, it's not as tough on some of their equipment. And so TDOT is undertaking a project from KOA down to about Little River Club and Deli for where they're going to improve at each and every juncture where there's a road connection, the sidewalk, to make sure it's got the right slope, and that it's got some bumps, so if there's visual impairment and you're walking, and you'll know you're coming up to a driveway. So one of the things that y'all know in towns is we have a whole lot of driveway connections up and down through there, and so it's important for us to be mindful of our pedestrians, and especially folks with disabilities, limited vision, or other challenges with their mobility. We have taken to heart some comments, and we'll share with TDOT, not to be overly aggressive in their approach, but they have to do what they've got to do to make it compliant. So not sure exactly how long the project will last, but they did get started on that this week. There are some temporary diversions around those driveways, so if you see a lot of fencing and some gravel going down and the precious going buffers on them, that'll be taken up. Is that right, Mr. Jones?
Correct.
It's be temporary, okay. What else can you add on that?
They just asked me, just to be patient with them, because I know it's going to be a mess for a while. And I know down there where you guys bought, it's pretty messy, so they'll have it cleaned up soon as they get done. So, but other than that, it's, everything just to be safe, and there's always ways around it.
Yeah. We're going to work with TDOT and get something up on our website or social media so that people know what's happening with that project. So that's the answer to that.
If the weather warms up, then they can pour concrete.
Exactly. Well, they've poured a few already, but like I said, when it's cold like this, it's hard for them to do anything. So they'll get back on it and soon. Shouldn't be real long.
So, Mr. Mayor, will that construction affect any of the festivals or marathons or runs that we've already approved?
Well, we'll need to find out how long that is going to be going on. Typically, the festivals prefer to use the bike path side, I think. But that's a good thing. We might want to go back and see if any of them are using the sidewalk side, and see if that, once we get the parameters of that, and take that into account. So that's a good.
Thank you.
And a multitude of counselors. So we have a multitude of counselors, a lot of wisdom around this table. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Martin and Mr. Jones. Let's move next to the recreation report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And also, when I get finished, I think there's a couple of reports not on here that might have been left off for building and codes.
Building and code, we'll ask for them next.
Police and fire reports, so I think those were left off, so.
Mr. Ogle and Mr. Blair will not get away.
If they have something they need to tell us, then I didn't want to, let them go by without saying anything. Okay, mine's always a little lengthy, so I apologize. Okay, so our last Parks and Rec meeting was on the 14th. We discussed the RFQ, and no submissions have been made yet so far, but we did talk about extending the deadline if we have to. But I don't think that we'll have to, because I've emailed with the multiple interested parties that have called or emailed regarding the RFQ for the Special People's Park. The 31st. Yes. So right now I've got about 5 or 6 different firms and companies interested in submitting. But I know 2 or 3 for sure will submit before the deadline, so we may not have to extend that. So after we do get those submissions, then we'll need to take the next step to review them. So I'll keep you all updated on how many we get and who they're from, and I will share that with you all. Okay. Also regarding the Special People's Park, reached out to Kathy from the Knoxville Disability Resource Center, and we've had to reschedule twice already due to sickness and it being so cold outside. We were supposed to meet tomorrow, but her and her team were going to come down to the park and just kind of do an assessment for us and see if there's anything that they can recommend or suggest for that park. So I will be meeting with her and her team very soon. That's from the Knoxville Disability Resource Center. Okay, I had a nice Zoom call with Chris from East Tennessee Development. he's agreed to help us with some of the grant opportunities out there. He's actually a really good knowledge resource for us when it comes to certain types of grants, whether they're private, foundational, or they're the state or federal funded grants. He's got a lot of knowledge there. So now for him, if he was going to help us with a private or a foundational grant, he would charge a fee of between $500 to $1,000. If it's for a state grant, he would not charge us. So, but we do also have the option, if we ever needed to use one of his interns, then there would be no charge to help us with those grant applications as well. So I wanted to share that with you all, that we had a couple of options as far as grants go. Signed up for an online training for next month with MTAS called Intro to Grant Writing. So I'm trying to learn more about the grant processes on different things. So that's next month online. We had bingo again here last night. Even though it was so cold, we still ended up with about 35 people that showed up for bingo, so that was a lot of fun. This morning, we had our first yoga class in here. So Miss Vanessa Ledbetter, she led the class, and I think there was 5 or 6 people that came to participate. It's cold, so I didn't expect a whole bunch, but everybody did sign a waiver, so that is taken care of. Let's see. Okay, and the Parks and Rec Board has a working workshop scheduled for February 5th at 5:30. This will be hands-on. We'll be sorting through all the caps. We've got bags and bags of caps. You all are amazing bringing in these caps. I'd say we're probably about halfway there to being able to get one of those tables. So I'm so thrilled about all the caps that's being donated, but we do have to sort them. So that's a lengthy process. But while we're doing that workshop and sorting through the caps, we're going to be brainstorming our plans for this year. And then we will also be doing a budget workshop so that we can kind of do more line itemized things, like for each event or project that Parks and Rec wants to do, like for bingo, for the 4th of July, for the Christmas community gathering. Like, we want to line itemize those things on the budget so that when the Board of Commissioners, when we begin our budget workshops, we'll be able to budget those more efficiently. That's all I got.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Commissioner Satterfield.
Thank you.
Any questions for Commissioner Satterfield on the Parks and Rec report? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Blair, building report.
First of all, thank you, Kelsey, for remembering us. Appreciate you bringing that up. Nothing new to report tonight, really. Next month, we do hope to have the driveway grading permit finalized. We've worked with the Planning Commission on that, and EKIM has worked really hard to get some new language in there that we hope you guys will enjoy. Also, something that I want you guys to be thinking about, and we're going to try to come up with something to put in front of you. We have an expiration date on our building permits right now as 1 year. When that year is up, the applicant has to start the process all over again, which can be expensive. If you're building a new house or some project up in the couple $100,000, your building permit would be, $1,800 to $3,000 again at the end of a project. So we'd like to see some kind of scale, some kind of renewal process, some kind of reapplication fee that would apply for that. And we're going to try to get you some examples of what some neighboring municipalities do, but that is something that we want to try to change this year.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blair. We'll look forward to that. It is good to benchmark with other communities. I'm aware that part of the reason for the expiration date, my understanding, is that so that construction doesn't go on in perpetuity. So how long is reasonable, for somebody to start a project and get it to completion? So we'll look forward to your recommendation on that. Commissioners, any questions?
I have a question. Once again, while I was homebound, I read our Towns and Municipal Code, and I found a chapter 16.4 that talks about excavations. And I'm curious, I've tried to put myself in the place of somebody applying for a permit. How do they know to go to here and read about excavations and go over here and get a permit to excavate?
That's a great question, and we hope that the grading permit will eliminate those questions.
But for instance, this one's got fees and bonds and that kind of stuff you have to put up to do that kind of work here in town. And I only happened to fall upon this. I'd never heard about that on the ordinance that you're proposing. I'm just having trouble seeing how they go like this. Anyway, that's my observation.
Well, I think that's a good observation, and when it comes back, we'll have the answer for that question. So sometimes there is something between the municipal code and the zoning regulation. So I don't know if this permit, the driveway grading permit, is it intended to go into zoning ordinance or into the municipal code?
I can't answer that. We'll have to get with Gayla and see.
Okay, sounds like we ought to be able to answer that, so, okay. All right, well, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Any other questions for Mr. Blair? Okay, thank you, Mr. Blair. Mr. Ogle?
The only thing that I've got to report this month is we did have a report of someone driving a, I forgot the name of it, a small excavator on the bike path in front of the Tremont Lodge. And I did have a talk with the lodge and the contractor about driving on the walking path. And also maintenance and I went up and put a sign right there where they were doing this that said footpath and bicycle zone. So that's all I have this month.
Okay, thank you for following up on that. It's very important. People walking, not to get surprised by an excavator. All right, thank you, Mr. Ogle. Commissioners, any questions? Codes enforcement officer. Okay, thanks, Mr. Ogle. Let's move on. Vice Mayor, am I missing anything before we get to the Townsend Case Code Gateway Alliance?
Unless Chief Green has anything to report us.
Fire report.
We apologize, the agenda that you have, there's a few things that are not on there. Gayla is sick at this time, so we apologize. There is a couple of events that are not on your paper, but if you'll go on Facebook or online, you'll find the original agenda, so we are going to stick with that, so we apologize for any confusion. We're trying to be honest and transparent, it just slipped through the cracks as Gayla began sick, so we apologize. Fire department, everything is going as usual, thank goodness. And like I said, we had one car slide off the road that was trying to get over to let somebody else on Cars Creek, and that was the only call, and then some medical calls during the snow. So thank you again for staying off the streets.
When I was down at Trillium Cove the other day, there was an emergency ambulance that showed up and some people from the fire department. I was curious what that was all about.
I'm not for sure.
Okay.
I would have to go back and look.
Okay, that was Saturday, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioners, other questions on the fire report? Or do we have an answer for that?
You said lady fell down the stairs.
There was someone in the stained glass business, Becky Earl,
Okay.
and she was coming down the stairs and not looking at the stairs, she was looking at merchandise and not the stairs.
Okay. Lady fell down.
Yeah. A customer.
Any other questions on the fire report? Okay.
We have to be very careful about answering questions like that because of HIPAA.
I understand.
Okay, Chief Condon, police report.
Well, you're gonna skip me. Trying to be quiet over here.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. Sliding under the radar. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of anything other than just business as usual and trying to deal with cold, like everybody. We survived the snowmageddon there, or big blizzard, and that made it through just fine. Thanks to our street guys that helped us out with that a bunch. But everything's going fine, and can't think of anything extra that needs reporting at this time. And I know y'all are probably wondering whether or not I was going to be participating in yoga, and the answer is no.
But it's right here.
We'll get that on record.
Jason was going to this morning, but he opted out.
It's a good one.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you, Chief. Commissioners, any questions for Chief Condit? Okay. Now, let's go to Townsend Kate's Cove Gateway Alliance. Jill?
Hello. How are y'all doing this evening? Good. My name is Jill. I am the Executive Director of TCGA, also known as Explore Townsend. We don't have a whole lot going on right now. We have had the opportunity to start the process of some leadership development, and so I'm excited about that. I've been partnered with John Maxwell for quite a long time, and so we've got some of that organization coming in and working with our board. And so as we get this process started, we're going to be able to have some services offered to the community and to some of the local businesses for free, and leadership and business development. So we're really excited about that. This is in the beginning stages. We are working this Saturday. We've got the Heritage and Hospitality Tour that's happening, which that's just some of the local businesses where we've got about 18 folks coming in so far just to travel and visit some of the businesses where we've been trying to help them network and get some foot traffic in the winter. So other than that, that's about it right now. So.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for Jill, our TCGA representative? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, community plan update. David Toth.
Hi, everybody. Had a good meeting earlier. I will say that from the administration level, everything seems to be on course. Both our consultants are busy. We are kind of changing the modes of the committee to more of looking towards the end of the process, the final document end result. So this February meeting should be loads of paperwork and books and pens and papers and stuff making sparks and flying. We're very happy with the progress. We're doing our best. The process we're going into is a continuation of keeping the community transparent with where we're at with the document, taking input all the way up to the final close of the land use document, and just business as usual for the most part.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hope. Questions from commissioners? Okay, I'll just note also that the meetings for the Community Plan Advisory Committee are being recorded and made available. So folks that want to follow along can go to the website. I'd encourage you to do that. There's more and more information being posted up there, and you can keep up to date on the community plan. Okay, this brings us down to public input for any items on the agenda. Do we have anyone signed up that would like to speak tonight?
Failing miserably. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Wait a minute. No, that's, okay. That was just, yeah, okay, so we got, there was a couple that were said they wanted to talk, but it was just about their event permit. So I think the first one is Tommy McAvoy. That's you. You're contestant.
I'm back. I'm fired up, guys.
Okay.
Too much caffeine.
I wish. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Board of Commissioners. My name is Tommy McAvoy, and I am a resident of the City of Townsend. First, I want to thank you for voting me onto the Board of Zoning Appeals. I will do my best to be prepared and knowledgeable on the requests presented to the BZA. My first meeting as a member of the BZA was on January 9th, 2025. At that time, we were asked to approve a special exception for an RV campground in a B1 zone. But I am also a Townsend resident, and I want all development to proceed with caution and much reflection. I believe all projects should benefit residents and not just tourists. But because there are numerous other campgrounds already in that zone, and the application met all the relevant criteria, the BZA voted unanimously to approve the special exception because of these precedents. The Tennessee Senate just passed a new bill, Senate Bill 137, that says no public input is allowed if a development meets the criteria laid out in the zoning laws. As an outspoken citizen, I find this un-American to say the least, but the best chance we have to be heard is in writing the zoning laws before the developers arrive. I am not alone in expressing my frustration at the slow wheels of government in getting new zoning laws passed. I know these things take time, but it has been over 2 years now since we started the rezoning process, only to find out the many pitfalls in the new B3. As stated by others, B3 is not working and all of our zones need to be refined. At the recent Planning Commission meeting, Mr. Talley suggested that we should consider multiple zones in Townsend. Mayor Prater stated that the community plan does involve zoning recommendations and the public does have input in the workshops. So we need to get these zoning laws into place quickly, more quickly, speed it up. I have been a Townsend resident for 6 years now, and we have been working on the zoning for at least the last 4. The clock is ticking, the developers are lurking, and the people of Townsend will be the victims. Senate Bill 137 is clearly on the side of development. We need to get our zones solidified and beat them to the punch while our voices still matter. I urge you as our representatives to get the zoning changes done as soon as possible. It is vital to the survival of the peaceful side of the Smokies.
Thank you very much. We will enter this comment into the record. I'm happy to respond on this. Do we have any other public input? Chief, you want to respond a little bit on this? It's on the same topic, I'll let anybody else who wants to.
Mr. Acker, are you?
I was wanting to speak after,
You something did.
but no, on the agenda.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's it then.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Ms. McAvoy, thank you very much. I appreciate you sharing this with the Board of Commissioners. We will take note of this new Senate bill and appreciate your comments on that. Your comments about the zoning ordinance, we do have a zoning ordinance in place, and we are constantly refining it. So one of the things we talked about tonight is the driveway connection. We've talked about corridor management. The zoning ordinance is sort of a living document, and so it is always subject to development. One of the things that commissioners urged us to do, and when we discussed this about our priorities, is that even though we have the community plan that's going on right now, and that will help us to refine comprehensively a lot of our different zoning types, and I do believe we need additional zoning types as well in Townsend, but we can't stand still. And so Commissioner Hedrick has reminded us of this, that we need to continue to work on our ordinances, and anytime we find a place that they can be improved, we need to work on that with a sense of urgency. So I take your comments, and that there are things that we can do right now that will make a difference. Those are the things that we will take up. And that is one of the priorities that this Board of Commissioners has identified. So we will put forward, we've agreed on a number of things that will be our priorities, but keeping our zoning ordinances up to date, not waiting necessarily for the community plan will will be important. So I appreciate those comments. I will reflect on the B3 because I do have my own opinion on the B3, and I don't get to express it many times except for when I'm in a meeting like this so that Board of Commissioners can hear me as well as citizens. The B3, in my opinion, worked as it was intended to work. The B3 was a new zoning type, and the primary reason that we undertook as a previous Board of Commissioners, the B3, is so that we would get additional public input on high-intensity uses. We call it the Highway Business District. Some people refer to these as more intense uses. These are things that our community is really interested in. Now, we've gone through a whole bunch of things in the last couple of years where people wanted to have more input. And so the B3 is a requirement now. It was voted on by Board of Commissioners. It may not be perfect, but it did accomplish one of the intent of the Board of Commissioners, which was to get more public input on site plans that would be approved for a certain type of permitted uses. And so that is accomplished. And so one of the suggestions that I heard, including from the Planning Commission, I did not agree with. Now, the Planning Commission did vote on a statement, and it came to the Board of Commissioners, and part of that statement included we need to go back to the way things were. We need to get rid of B3 and put everything back the way it was in B1 and B2. But in my opinion, part of what the issue was with B1 and B2, number one, we didn't have anything in B2 until just recently. Everything was in B1, and it did not require any additional public input. Now, all those same uses that are in the B3 now that people want input on, they were just there in the B1 before. They're now in the B3, where if a development like that comes, it gets public input. Now, if you put it back the way it was in B1, those things will come to the Planning Commission as a site plan, and this Planning Commission will have to approve it if it meets the requirements of the site plan. That's what our city attorney has told us. The Planning Commission cannot just say no when a site plan that meets the requirements, very much the same point that you made about BZA. And so if you want to have public input, then rezoning those into a new type does require public input. So for the people that will say B3 is unworkable or didn't work, I would not agree with that, because it did work, and we did have lots of public input on our first potential for a B3. And so in that way, it did work. Is it perfect? Probably needs to have some adjustments. One of the adjustments has to do with being able to have residences. Now, one of the things we did when we added the B3 is we took residences out of B1 and B3. You can still have it in B2 as a neighborhood work unit. But if you want to encourage more residences in Townsend, you would want to have every opportunity to do that. So I do think we need to look at B3 and potentially consider what could be done to improve it. But for the people that say B3 didn't work, my opinion is it worked. It got public input on those things. And is it workable? Well, the Planning Commission and the Board of Commissioners, when they put it in place, thought it would be workable. If there are things that need to be adjusted, they could be adjusted. And that's the way our ordinances go. If we put a new ordinance in place, special events would be another one. We're going to do some of these tonight. It's not perfect. We've already gone through special events ordinance once and made revisions to that. We'll continue to refine it and make it better. But I just wanted to take this opportunity, because I don't have it very often, to put that opinion out there. But that's my opinion on B3. But I do thank you for your comments, and I appreciate the spirit in which you delivered those, and they will go into our record.
May I add? That was not a critique of B3. That's a critique of, we've talked about the overlay of the zoning and changing it, and I'm very afraid that we're going to be too late to get to it.
We're behind the curve.
We
I
are
don't
definitely
I don't
behind
disagree
the
with you. Townsend is behind the curve in terms of being able to address some of the current things that we have today. And so we are working urgently with the community plan. And that's I think, the bigger process that will help us in Townsend is the community plan. That's where we'll have a community vision of sort of where things go and what's the best approach. It's not going to satisfy everybody, but it will hopefully address some of the things that need to be addressed in town. And so that's, in my opinion, the bigger opportunity. So
we need to go ahead and start setting up workshops to go through things and update things now that we can do.
Yeah,
To get started
Well,
on.
that's kind of my point. The community plan, it seems to be, while everyone, I understand there's a lot to cover and work on it, by the time it gets done, we're going to be even that much further. And I liked your comment that we don't have to wait for the community plan in order to get the zoning to start looking at what we can do. Real quick, I was surprised at coming in on BZA that I was not addressing the denial of the application for the B3 zoning. I was surprised to find that it was a completely new special event thing. So I was more prepared for discussing why this was B3 and not B1. So it kind of took that part of it a little bit by surprise, because I thought that the BZA was sort of like the final say after you all did. But anyway, that's beside the point. I just am very concerned, given this recent law with Tennessee, that we're going to have to move a whole lot faster in some way. And I know that that's manpower and human time and everything else, but
okay.
I will help. Whatever I can do.
Thank you very much.
Referring to, is that a proposed law or has it passed the Senate?
Passed, first reading. I checked it all today.
Thank you. I'm glad I know the answer to that.
Thank you for that, bringing that to our attention.
Now, there's one other thing I wanted to suggest, and you've heard me say it before. The people out here only elect these 5 people. They don't elect anybody on the planning commission other than the mayor serves on it and one of the commissioners serve on it. Everybody else is appointed and perhaps voted on by the members of the commission. There are several members that haven't been approved by the commission. Should the site plans, after they're approved by the planning commission, have to come to the city commission where we can get input from the citizens and we have to say whether the site plan is approved or not approved as an additional approval and an opportunity to get more public input.
And I
Or
think,
if you do that, you just cut out planning commission and come straight to, so that you don't have 2 opposing votes.
I don't think you can cut out the planning commission. I think they have the ability to do work that this commission doesn't need to see. But the site plans, when they're approved, I would like somebody that's been voted in to have the final say. And the mayor has a say, and I have a say right now, but that's only 2 out of 7.
But what happens if planning commission approves it, but city commission denies it?
Right.
right. And so Commissioner Jenkins, you made that suggestion, and I promise you that as we're updating our requirements, we're going to investigate that one as well, and to see if that's something that would be permissible if other communities have done it. Is it allowed under the Tennessee Code annotated? Because, you know, like Commissioner Hedrick said, you don't want to get in a situation where you get conflicting views. But I'm quite sure, although I don't have it in front of me, I'm quite sure that if you look in the Tennessee Code, there is a role for planning commission, and it's pretty well thought out already. But I think we can ask that question and explore that.
I'd like you to.
Yes, sir, we will. And Mr. Akert is someone who I know has some knowledge about different commissions. Mr. Akert, would you like to offer a comment? If you do, I'd ask you to come to the microphone so all of our citizens can hear.
It is my understanding that if your planning commission approves a site plan saying that it met your regulations, that it would be the biggest mistake that you could ever make to tell them no, because that's an opinion not backed by law, and you'll get spanked in court when they sue you personally for your no vote. If you want to do away with the planning commission and you all review everything, that's great. But I don't think you ever want to go on record voting no after something's already passed your zoning regulations. I think that would be a huge mistake. And that was one of the things that I was going to say in my things not on the agenda, but since y'all were talking about it, I thought I'd talk about it now.
So thank you for that. All right, we'll investigate it and we'll find out. And this is another good question for city attorney. We have to follow the law. Okay,
Can we set a workshop to start looking at our zoning stuff?
we can set a workshop. We can, and what would you like this workshop to cover?
Start on the zoning things that we need to look at.
Okay. So a workshop to identify areas of the zoning ordinance that need to be improved urgently.
Yes. And there's
Okay.
like multiple workshops, but we gotta get it going.
Okay.
We also need to look at some codes that are in our book that have been brought to my attention. So we need to go over those and look at some of those things.
Okay. So we'll set a workshop, and I won't try to do it now with schedules, but we will set it in the next day or two, and we'll get that information out on our website when the workshop is, and we'll make the scope existing ordinances that need to be improved, and then new ordinances that might need to be drafted. And so if we do it as part of a workshop, we'll be able to get that input. So, okay. Well, thank you very much. And thank you again, Ms. McAvoy, for that comment that has advanced to a workshop now. All right.
We're talking about zoning. Can we have the planning commission included in that workshop?
I think it would probably be a good idea to have a joint workshop. We talked about having more joint workshops, which is, and you suggested BZA. All right. We have a tripartite workshop. Another reason we can't set a date at the spur of the moment. We'll endeavor to do that. I don't know that we've ever had a tripartite workshop, but we can endeavor to do that. Okay. This is government at work. All right. Any other public input? Okay. Let's move on to new business, Commissioner. First item is TCGA laser show approval for Hot Air Balloon Festival. My recollection is that we've already approved the Hot Air Balloon Festival, but we deferred on the laser light show. Is that right? I think that's right. Okay, so we have this before us, and you all have received some information on the light show. I'm just going to summarize this, and then we'll turn to our TCGA representative to add on to it. This information that we have addresses points on regulatory compliance, safety first, epilepsy awareness, industry history, eco-friendly alternative. And the conclusion is that bringing a laser light show to our community is not only a safe choice, but an innovative, environmentally friendly, environmentally conscious alternative to fireworks. And I'll stop there. You've had a chance to read this information. I'm sure we'll talk about each and every one of these points. But let me turn to TCGA representative Joe Hepperly. Would you like to lead us through this or make any points on this?
Just basically, we'd like to add the light show to the Balloon Festival as kind of a finale. And one of the main reasons that we want to do that is simply in case the balloons don't go up, that the ticket holders will actually have something else besides just balloons that don't go up that they pay for. So we did it last year, and it seemed to be very successful with the kids and the people that were there. So that's basically it. We just want to try to add that to the festival.
Mm-hmm. How often have the balloons not gone up in the history of the?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know that they haven't. I know last year, it was my first year with the Balloon Festival, and I know they were very close to not going up. And I think the wind, I think they went up despite some of the wind conditions. But that's one of the things we've talked about is because of the balloons, it really is a gamble and losing a lot of the investment for that particular event. And of course, that's TCGA's, you know, that's our fund and how that nonprofit actually operates. So it has been a topic of discussion a few times, but that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
A couple of years ago, I think it was maybe 3 years ago, we did have a rain shower and they did have to lower the balloons down early. And that was the first year for the laser show. There was rain in the forecast, and so that was the first year that we had saw the laser show. But they did have to set the balloons down earlier than what was expected because of the rain.
Do you know if they've ever, have they been up?
They've never not, since TCGA has been doing it, they've always gotten them up at least a portion of the time. They've never gone the entire time it was advertised, not ever. Just because the wind, if your hair blows, they don't fly. That's just, so anyway.
Okay, so the main thing that you're explaining, the laser show is perceived as an alternate to the balloons not going up, so that if people get there, they get to see something. If the balloons don't go. But in the short history of the balloon festival, the balloons have never not gone up. They had to come down early when they were on account of rain. Okay.
And I wouldn't say that would be the only reason that we would add, but I think it's just a good finale touch to that particular event. So I wouldn't want to say that would be the only reason, but that is the reason that conversations I've been a part of that they discussed. One of the reasons to add something to the very end, so that when people come, if the balloons don't go up, then they've not just come out there for nothing, just walk around.
Also, it gives time for people that don't want to see the laser show to leave and those that want to stay and watch it, so we don't have everybody. Just from the fire department standpoint, we don't have everybody trying to get out at the same time. You have those people that really don't want to see the lasers, they go ahead and leave, and then those that want to. So we actually have a break in traffic kind of, that are trying to leave. So we don't have all these people trying to leave at one time. We don't have the ballooners trying to get packed up and people leaving. It kind of just gives a little buffer time.
Yeah.
So it has been useful in that aspect in the past.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jenkins, you've had some questions about this. I think some of these responses here remind me of some of your questions. Have you had a chance to take a look at these responses, and do they satisfy your questions?
I'd start with the bottom, number 5. They indicate as an example that at the Kentucky Derby, they used laser encores, light show, and the horses weren't spooked. Well, it happens that my niece is vice president of the Louisville Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
And her husband is a fairly famous horse trainer. So I called her today, and she says, well, this isn't really a full story. She said, the light show is 2 weeks before the Derby, and it's 5 miles away over the Ohio River. She said, but my husband took great pains to make sure all his horses were in their stalls and the building closed before the light show ever occurred.
Yeah.
So I find there's still a problem with the effects. It's not environmentally friendly.
All right. Is your concern about horses, or is it a concern about people?
They were using horses as an example of not disturbing things, mammals.
Yeah,
Could
but
be
here,
horses, could be people, could be bears.
This particular statement comes directly from the owner of Encore that's been in this industry for a long time.
Yeah.
And so they run that show at the Kentucky Derby.
Right. So the example, though, doesn't apply, is what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because it's 2 weeks before the Derby. The epilepsy awareness. I have family members that have epilepsy. They avoid situations with flashing lights, like this laser show would be. They never go indoors to a nightclub that has laser light shows. They have that opportunity to avoid it. Here, we're talking about something out in the environment that doesn't stop at their property line, that hits all the hillsides around here. People have no choice but to be exposed to it, other than leave town. So I find that difficult still. When it comes to regulatory compliance, lasers have all different kinds of powers, and they indicate that these are entertainment lights. And entertainment lights are class 4 lasers. Class 4 lasers require all kinds of FDA certification. And this company may or may not have that certification. They may or may not have the permits. Nobody's shown us evidence of that. The FDA wouldn't require permits if it wasn't a serious situation. They don't just allow them to be used willy-nilly. The people that operate them have to be licensed. I find it, it's a safety issue, and we're required to worry about the health and safety of citizens, not just people that attend a balloon festival. So that's my answer.
Okay. Other commissioners, questions for TCGA?
Questions on our ordinance. When did our light ordinances come into effect?
You saw me looking at the ordinance. Yeah, there are two sections of the ordinance here that I'm recalling. It says the following requirements shall apply to office, commercial, industrial, multifamily sites or developments. However, regardless of the particular use of the land on a site, no light shall be allowed to shine or glare onto adjacent properties, rights of way, or easements, except for municipal street lighting. So that's section 8-312 of the zoning ordinance. And then number 9 says prohibited. The following lighting is prohibited: blinking, flashing, and strobe lights. So these are the two sections in the zoning code. Other questions? No other questions? In order to approve an addition of the laser light show to the balloon festival, we would need to have a motion and a second and pass a resolution, I guess, to be able to amend that special event application to include the light show. Would any commissioner like to make a motion to amend the special event permit for the Hot Air Balloon Festival to add a laser light show?
Jill, have you had the chance to figure out who lives on top of the hill there where the lights go through their house yet?
No.
Well, we're glad you brought that up. Last night at bingo, there was somebody that came to me. It wasn't the resident itself, but he's related to the resident. However, I forgot the name, but they live on Carnes Road. They said that last year during the laser show that one of the lasers hit their house, like it reached their house, and the terms used were lit up their house.
Yeah.
So that was brought to my attention last night at bingo. I'm just trying to remember who told me that. But it was a resident on Carnes Creek.
Carnes Creek or
Cars.
Cars
Creek.
Sorry.
Carnes Road.
I get them mixed up. Thank you.
So there's Cedar Creek and then you
It's
turn off
not
Cedar Creek onto
it's
Carnes.
Carnes.
Okay.
It's Carnes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a concern from a resident last night, was that it had touched their
I
house.
would really like to see a letter from them stating that they would be okay with
We had
that.
talked about too, like, we were talking about it at the event grounds, is like, is there an option to set the company up on the other side so they're going the other way, behind the event center? So that might be an option. We haven't looked at that, we talked about that, but it's not been anything like, so we don't know if there's anybody on that opposite side.
There's a few houses back there. Just like to see whichever way you shoot, to talk to the residents and just have a letter saying that they are okay. I would feel more comfortable after to see that they are okay, because it is very bright. I watched it go straight through that house last year, so I would be interested to have that letter saying that they were okay with you having a laser.
Well, I think too, if it was turned to the other side, that it wouldn't go across the highway.
It would be buffered.
Yeah.
There would be a buffer system with the trees.
That's my concern, is it going across that way? And with people driving by, maybe a visitor, maybe driving through.
I think it does go up, from my understanding, like it doesn't hit the highway, like to a degree where it should be, but up. I think it was up.
It was,
yeah.
Okay.
It sits up high enough that it slides over the roadways. It wasn't
Yeah.
affecting people driving. I talked to a few people that were driving at that time, and they said they could see it up above. It didn't affect theirs, but I would like to, because there is that tree buffer on the back side.
Yeah, so we could look at that as well, possibly.
Okay. Well, now, I don't think it's compliant with our ordinance. And so even if you have a letter, I'm not sure it's going to change the fact that it's not compliant with our ordinance. So I don't want to send you on some task to get a letter if it's still not going to change the fact that it's not compliant with our ordinance.
It'd be interesting to shoot a laser back that backside to see how much, because if there's enough tree, if there's enough tree foliage back there that it doesn't shoot across that property line, then yes, you would still be in your boundaries. But if it shoots past that tree line and into your neighbor's yard, then if it is covered, it would be approved.
What about like if there was, let's say for instance, if we went away from like a laser, the light show, the lights, would fireworks fall in that ordinance, or would that be outside the ordinance as well?
Fireworks are allowed in the city.
They are allowed?
They are not. They're not.
Only on 4th of July.
They're not allowed in the county. They make a thing for the 4th of July, because the fire department does that and is there to handle if there's a case of a fire. But yes, fireworks are not even allowed in Love County.
Okay, in the county though.
That's right.
Okay.
Or the city.
I stand corrected.
So that would, fireworks wouldn't be an option to even, okay. So would turning it, if it stays inside the property, that might be an option? It could be, so that's been possible.
It would need to meet these two requirements of the ordinance. So there's the section of the ordinance, here's the first one. However, regardless of the particular use of the land on a site, no light shall be allowed to shine or glare onto adjacent properties, rights of way, or easements. You have to meet that. And then there's prohibited. The following lighting is prohibited: blinking, flashing, strobe lights. I don't know how you, even if you stay on the property, I don't know how you meet that one. If you can find a way to be compliant with the ordinance, that would address my concern. So if you want to think about it and come back.
Well, I mean, it's up for discussion for us, to think of some alternatives, and that's what we've been doing with the entire event, so this is one of those, so, but yeah.
Other questions?
But if it's a balloon festival, the
Well, we're talking
participants should
about
understand that if the weather's bad.
You all work with people. So, we get it, but it's just an alternative. We're looking at some other things other than even, so there's just a lot of things on the table. So, we're making some adjustments. So this was one that, we thought about, so. But definitely we'll make some adjustments and maybe come back with some.
If you want to come back to us, you can.
Yeah, well, definitely, because obviously that would be outside of the ordinance anyway, so.
And try to make something that fits with Townsend, because I don't think the Lander show really fits with Townsend though.
Well, I don't know, I guess it depends on who you ask too. There's a lot of people that do really enjoy it too, so I don't think that's a 100% fair statement to say, but there's a lot of things that don't fit with Townsend that's here, But, so there's a lot of different people here, so. But yes, we'll definitely make some adjustments and come back, so thank you all so much.
Take any action on that. Commissioners, let's go to the next item. This is a special event application for a luau and volleyball tournament. The date of the event is July 18th through 19th. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. at the Little River Campground, and it will be organized by Shannon Howard and Christina Ethel.
This is your second year, right? You came last year?
Yes, this is our
This is the
fourth year
Parrot Head.
there, but second year when we've had special event happening on our good job.
Okay?
I'm Christina Eagle, I'm the president. This is my VP, Anita Byers.
All right, let's see, I forgot to read this. The individual host organization is the East Tennessee Parrot Head Club.
Correct. Yes.
All right. Let me see what else I can tell you, commissioners, about this event, and then I'll ask for a motion and a second to get it up for discussion.
This is the one you said was like really intense, that people from other states come to participate and.
Yes, we rented all the campground, we rented all the cabins at Little River, and last year we rented 20 campsites. We've had people come in from New Jersey, California, South Carolina, and they stay the whole week. It's not just they stay for a couple of days, but they bring them here. And we get a lot of discounts from local restaurants and other places, hotels and whatnot, so that the money stays in Townsend.
Okay. Looks like there will be live music, a DJ, and a stage. Vending says this is being catered. There'll be volleyball, it's a competition. No traffic control assist. Expected in attendance, 350 to 400 people. There's an admission charge. There'll be some tenants. They have provided a insurance certificate and some other documentation, commissioners, as you have. Anything else you'd like to tell us about the event?
Just that we love it at Little River, and the owners have been great. The community's been very welcoming to them, and, we bring a lot of money into Townsend, so we're looking forward to it again. We got a lot of great lineup, and all the money raised goes towards the Elwood House and Hospital, so we give back to local charities, and that's what Parrot Heads do. We party for a purpose for different nonprofits in the area.
Okay. Chief Conlon, have you had a chance to look at this event application? Any concerns? Any trouble with this last year?
No problems.
Parrot Heads? Okay. All right. Commissioner, can I get a motion to approve this special event application as we discussed?
Make a motion to approve the luau volleyball tournament.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, none opposed. Your event application is approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good luck with your event. Okay, next one on the list is the Bronco Throwback. This is scheduled to occur on September 25 through 27, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. It will be at the Tally Ho Inn. Organizer is Thomas Broberg. We have Thomas here tonight. Anybody on this? Okay. Not required. Let me see what else I can tell you about this. Gathering Bowl Ford Broncos, 1966 to 1996. I wish I had one. There will be food, 6 to 8 vendors. And looks like there'll be a tent. anticipated attendance.
My question is if, normally they have it in the field, but if the field was going to be an RV campground, where is this going to be?
Well, I don't know upon what timeline that field might take transition, so I don't have that information. Nor do we have the anticipated attendance, which is unfortunate, because that is a big factor. Are you talking about 2,200 or 2,000 people to this event?
I'd like to make a motion to set this back until next month, until we have the information.
I'll second that.
Okay, yeah, it's important. There's other things that we can get by without, but we do have large events, so it could be 2,200, 2,000, or 20,000. Okay, all right. And those are the two that we have on the agenda.
No.
Is there anyone
All
else?
these are on the agenda.
Is there anyone else for any other special events?
That one gentleman went home already.
Okay, I think the one guy went home.
That was for the bike bash.
We don't, he doesn't have to be here. It's not entirely fair if he's not, but let's go ahead and take it up. And because we did have it on the agenda, I guess we had some difficulty, as Commissioner Martin explained, with our agenda. So this one is for the Tour de Rocky Top. And it is sponsored by Race Day Events, Martin Coleman. And the event date is July the 5th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is a bicycle event. Cyclists will start on Highway 321 for 3 miles before turning off on side roads. A police escort would be great, but not required. The event will happen at 7967 East Lamar, Alexander Park. Is that the Peaceful Side?
Correct.
Okay, happen at the Peaceful Side. It is a road cycling event from Townsend to Blount County and back to Townsend. There will be 4 distance options ranging from 20 to 80 miles. 4 rest stops will be set up along the routes. Stops will be manned by local volunteers. Starting and ending point in Townsend is Peaceful Side Social, which will handle parking and any post-event food and beverages. The event has been done for 18 years in Knoxville from Farley's, but now the new baseball stadium is in the way. Estimated 300 people. Let's see what else we can tell about this. And that's it.
I know Peaceful Side can hold a lot of people, but is there enough parking there? Will they be shuttling from some other place? Or-
Chief, do you have any concerns on this one?
I don't really have a lot of information on it.
Okay.
Other than what you have there, but it's a bunch of bicycles. But it's not anything, we're not gonna escort a bunch of bicycles. It's not.
Are they gonna be on 321 through the curves or the old road, River Road?
I think he told me before the meeting, not probably after this, but he did mention to me, just as I was telling him he wasn't on the agenda, that they were going to drop down and go on Old Bond Highway.
So I guess they're gonna turn
And on
on the bridge, go down and
Yeah.
turn right on the bridge and then go out the old highway. Yeah, that's, once they make that right turn, they're out of the city, sends it across the river, so, and 321's nice and big and wide, so I don't think, I wouldn't think it'd be any more problem than, it normally is when you got a bunch of bicycles in the road.
I like the fact that if they go down the old road, or River Road and not in the curves.
That's what he explained to me. Okay, Commissioners, do I have a motion to approve this special event for Tour de Rocky Top, July the 5th, 300 bicycles, starting at Peaceful Side and returning to Peaceful Side. I need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to accept the special event application for the Rocky Top.
I have a second.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further
I'd like to
discussion?
ask a couple of questions. It says that they'll start at 7 a.m. So at 7 a.m. that morning, we could expect 150, 200 bicycles going all at the same time that direction, right? Is that the way this reads? It doesn't say they're going to let 10 go, and then 10 more. We're going to have a blast of 150, 200 bicycles.
The day after 4th of July.
4th of July weekend.
7/5 was the day.
It just seems like a whole lot of bicycles at 7 o'clock in the morning, instead of having them spaced out.
Not much goes at 7 a.m.
I do.
But,
Yeah, I just,
it's a good question. I don't know. It doesn't say that they're going to space it out. And again, this guy is disadvantaged not being able to explain it. But I heard from Chief Connie
Go ahead, sorry.
that, he's not concerned about that based on the width of Highway 321. Chief?
Yeah, it's a Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Traffic would be at a minimum at that time in the morning on Saturday, I would think, but, I don't, the thing is, it's a public roadway, and if they wanted to pile up and a bunch of, 100 or how many they want to go for a bike ride on, there's nothing we can do to stop them if we wanted to. It's a public roadway, and they've got the right to be on there.
Okay, any further discussion on this one? All in favor of the event Tour de Rocky Top, July the 5th, 300 bicycles from Peaceful Side to and return, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Okay, this event application is approved. All right, I see another one here. Vacation races. This is the Great Smoky Mountains half and 5K. Event coordinator Josh Oliveri. The event date is September the 5th. Let's see. One before was the 25th. This is a road race, and the location is the Tally Ho. And let's see, Friday, they would have an expo and packet pickup at 6:15 p.m. There's a 5K course that runs mostly on the Townsend Historical Trail. And on Saturday, they will have a half marathon, start at Heritage High School and finishes at Tally Ho. They will have amplified sound, and it will be a competition. Anticipated attendance, 2,500 people. 30 toilets on site. This is a pretty big one. All right, Chief, have you had a chance to look at this one?
Yes, this is one they've been having for a few years now, so they've got everything pretty well established as far as how they.
Any trouble in the past?
We've not had, knock on wood, we've not had any issues at all. No safety issues.
The only trouble is if you're wanting to get into New Bear, sign up early. They max out quick.
Say again?
If you're wanting to do it, sign up early.
Get up early, yeah.
Or sign up because they close it pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
It's popular.
Yeah, okay. Okay, can I get a motion in a second on this one to get it up for a discussion?
I'll make a motion to accept the application for the vacation races.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
down here it says traffic control assist needed, yes. What kind of traffic control assist are they asking?
I don't know, we've never done any traffic control for them in the past, so. It's all off the roads, and as far as inside the city goes, so we've never done anything for them.
If it's Heritage, it's River Road, and comes down, and probably goes along the bike trail, and goes under one of the tunnels. Probably there at IGA.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have it for any, but that's how they've done it in the past. We've not. I just know we've never provided any kind of traffic control for them, and we've never had any.
Maybe the flashing, or the message boards, that maybe the one.
So they can request it, but we would approve it contingent upon no traffic assist by the Townsend Police
Yeah, I can't, I've got one officer probably working in the mornings like that. And
Okay.
we can't tie him up on that. So.
Well, let's explore the use, Commissioner Martin and Mr. Jones, of the message board, if it's a way we can assist that and let people know.
I only have one little small message board, and it's not, I don't know where you make it of any use for that.
More than likely the event place, they'll probably do the signage, the message boards and stuff. But they probably bring it in a couple days before, and then, last year,
Are we recommending that to them, or is it contingent upon them using a message board?
I think last year it was there for like a couple of weeks after. There was one that they never did come and pick up for quite a while.
I guess.
I can't remember if that was this one or if this was the dancing bears. I can't remember, one of them does use a message board from the highway department.
Let's make a
It's
recommendation.
the $8 highway department that own that sign.
Yeah, that big one that was there for a while, had to be the county or the state.
Exactly.
And how do they organize that? They organize with them individually, or? Okay, so let's make a recommendation to it. I'm suggesting we make it contingent upon them using a message board. Because I don't know that we can do that if it's not.
Well, but they're not gonna be on the highway. I think it's the Dancing Bear Bike Bash that uses it, and they actually use the highway. They use 321 from Dancing Bear all the way up through Heritage. They ride bicycles through there. So I know that's why they've used it in the past.
Okay, further discussion?
We can put it to just a suggestion.
Okay, we can go back and make suggestions. All right. All right, all in favor of approving Great Smoky Mountains half and 5K on September 5th and 6th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that event application is approved. Next one. This is for Dancing Bear Lodge, Dancing Bear Bike Bash. This might be the one you're speaking of, 11th annual. Will be hosted at the East Lawn Alexander Parkway at Dancing Bear. Let's see, 7140, that's Apple Valley, Dancing Bear. And what else can I tell you? Recreational bicycle rides starting at Dancing Bear Lodge, traveling into Wallen and returning via Old Wallen Highway. Ride consists of 28, 38, 58 miles, so I guess there's 3 different rides. Traffic control assisted needed.
They usually use the Blount County Police Department or the fire department. They've used them in the past.
Okay, I guess it's the, 11th annual, so they'll have some experience with that. Let's see, there will be anticipated attendance 250. That's not so bad. All right. I think that's all the information I have, Commissioners. And the date again is September 20th. So it would be a different weekend in September than the other 2 we approved, 8 to 1 p.m. Chief Connie, any concerns with this one, 11th annual?
No.
You must have some experience.
Yeah, we usually help them get out onto the highway initially, and then they take off, and we within just a couple minutes. They're all out of the city and toward Walden.
All right, commissioners, let's see, do I have a motion in a second? Is this one up?
I make a motion to accept the application for the Dancing Bear Lodge Dancing Bear Bike Bash.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All in favor, I'm sorry, any further discussion? All in favor of Dancing Bear Bike Bash September 20th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that application is approved. Which brings us to our last item, unfinished business. Ordinance 344241C, an ordinance amending the annual budget for City of Townsend for fiscal year 24-25, second reading. And Commissioner Jenkins, this is the one that has the budget amendment you were asking about.
Right.
Well, here it is. It's got the community plan in there. It's got police vehicles, city hall repair and maintenance, police supplies, maintenance and seasonal wages. I think we've approved a number of these individually, and this is just the budget amendment that puts them officially into our budget. Commissioners, I'll give you 1 minute to review this ordinance. We've got it on second reading, so we've seen it before.
This is minor, I don't know if this matters or not, but whereas it says the town or city, so I don't know if it matters if it says town or city.
Okay, and the third line, whereas the town will incur additional expenditures, we'll say whereas the city. Okay. Any other questions?
I want to ask a hypothetical, okay? You saw earlier that the Community Plan Advisory Committee, we had spent $29,000 to date. And we're asking for $52,000 for the entire year, entire fiscal year. This is theoretical. If we stopped the Community Plan Advisory Group right now, we would only be asking for $29,000 instead of $52,000. Is that correct?
Well, I think we've already signed a contract,
But the contract says we can terminate it with 2-week notice.
but I think we would still have to pay it.
Okay, I'm
happy to look into that.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to keep us from going further in debt. Because
Well-
we're talking about using up $116,000 of our fund balance for this whole
Yeah.
thing.
Well, the Board of Commissioners has already approved this contract. And so I think
Okay.
we would be in some legal jeopardy should we decide
Like I
not
said, it's
to.
theoretical.
not to
but
fund it.
It seems like we ought to be trying to stay inside the budget when we could.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, other questions on this budget amendment? As I said, I think each and every one of these expenditures has already been approved by resolution. So this is just the amendment for the budget. I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 34424-1C.
Make a motion to accept ordinance number 344-24-1C.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving this ordinance as amended by Commissioner Satterfield, changing town to city, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, and one abstention. All right, the ordinance is approved. All right. Now, we have one last chance for public input not on the agenda. Mr. Aker, you waited this whole time. Tell us.
So I'm Mike Akers, I live at 75, I don't live at 7511 yet, but I'm going to someday. Got a few things. I have asked you all before, and I'm asking again, that you all rewrite the ordinance concerning no RVs, no camping. I'd like to be able to see luxury RVs on one's own property for camping. One's own RV, one's own property, no rentals, one unit per, one per parcel kind of thing. Surely would like to see that. Another thing I wanted to say, I already said earlier about y'all need to be really careful about saying no, because it's your opinion. If the law has already been, if your ordinance has already been approved by your planning commission, it would be really bad to say no. From a personal standpoint, you'll get named in a lawsuit. And the other thing, I wasn't paying close enough attention a little while ago, but I believe if Townsend does not have a firework ordinance, they can shoot fireworks anywhere in the city, anywhere in Plum County, every day of the year, between the hours of 8 and 10. I was involved in bringing that to pass, so I kind of know about the resolution in Plum County. And so if you all don't have an ordinance against fireworks, there's not anything you can do to stop them from shooting fireworks there, because it is permitted in Plum County, as long as it's inside really the only thing that's time limiting it is noise. The county's noise ordinance is the only thing that limits it. Maryville and Alcoa have taken steps to limit the days that they allow it, but in Blount County it's 365 days a year. So. And I guess that's all I can remember tonight.
Thank you.
I do encourage the workshop on your zoning. As we've discussed, there's a whole bunch of discrepancies in there that need to be cleared up. And the longer you wait, the more exposure you have. And Mayor and I talked about that several times, and I think that's a really big deal. I think your biggest hurdle that you're going to have in redoing zoning is the fact that no one in Townsend wants their own property changed. They want everybody else's property changed, but they don't want their own property changed. And with everybody basically being in B1 currently, the potential value of their property is going to go down when you eliminate hotels from being able to buy that property. People that want to build hotels, which hotels are legal in B1 now. And that's going to change their property value, which is going to, you're going to be butting heads with one another because they want to change Joe Bob's property, but Fred didn't want his changed. And that's not going to be a pretty sight. But I think the workshop with all three bodies involved in it's a great idea for public feedback, and I want to know what it is because I want to be here.
I would expect to see you.
Oh, I did have one more thing. So I mentioned that I intended to bring the swinging bridge, and I have spoken with Commissioner Joplin and Commissioner Bowers, and we made a public announcement at our last commission meeting last week that we were asking the highway department to look into it. And those two commissioners and myself are bringing a resolution in February for that to be repaired. We don't know whether we're going to win or not, but we are bringing it. So I actually expect it to be unanimous. I can't imagine anybody voting against it, but stranger things have happened.
Thank you for
We thank you for
your
doing that.
opinions.
It's unanimous.
Okay. Any other public input?
Little quick thing, all the events that are approved, I don't need to walk up because it's quicker than the walk. Is there a place where we can see where all that's placed, what's been approved, what isn't in town?
like a monthly calendar of what's happening in town. So on the 5th of July, I remember not to go on the road. Is there somewhere?
I think Heather's been trying to post a calendar, I think, on the website.
You should be able to find a calendar on the website.
It's all blank.
It's blank.
Yeah, the calendar on the website is blank.
I know there's some of the
Oh, I just was looking
things
for it.
that have
There's
been on
nothing
the
on it.
calendar, so maybe we need to just add that to the
Maybe there's
website.
nothing.
And if we have a
I
map,
moved.
Well,
so that they know your voice is area.
Oh, no, I was just looking at general, like,
From this point.
festival and.
should have.
Okay. We'll share that with our city manager / city recorder / website, social media.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, commissioners, any other business?
I'd like to have, on our planning, when we do our meeting, to make sure Ken is here for that meeting. Whenever we do our,
Make sure Kim is in attendance for the
Yes.
workshop.
just
Okay,
make sure we definitely check his schedule.
okay.
We need MTS. There's a lot of people.
I don't know.
But maybe Angie or,
On zoning regulation? Or just, I mean, this could be, it might not be a zoning, it could be any ordinance, but I thought this workshop was going to be on zoning ordinances, things in this book. Is it broader?
Just a few little codes things, but I don't think MTS needs to be here. We just need to tweak a few little, some wording on some signs.
Okay. If there's a
Flags, mostly flags, so we need to tweak some things.
All right, we can always invite more people if we
Yeah, we'll
determine
see.
there's a need. Okay. All right, very good. Thank you, Commissioner Martin. Okay,
Mayor, I got
Chief.
a couple quick things, sorry. The, was one thing you asked to, because you're talking about putting stuff on the website, and, you know, I talked about this earlier today, but, the guy we had, that Gail and I had brought in, that had the solution for, a city app, phone app, and, also a connected website. That's something I hope that you guys will, put some more thought into, and maybe approve, and, we have to do some work and figure out if that company is offering a unique, like, sole source, provider, if we have to bid it out, that type of thing. But if not, if it works out that we don't, that it's a sole source and there's an exigent need for it, I think it'd be money well spent to get this app out there, like what Gatlinburg and some other surrounding cities have. Get this app and a website connected to it that is, that Gail would be, or anybody would easily be able to manipulate and utilize, and not something that, like we have now, which is no phone app, and then our website, which Gail, I guess, has had to do gotten a lot of training on how to use it, because it's pretty technical, and I think what this other company's offering is something way more user-friendly is the way it was described. And I know the phone app is definitely more user-friendly, and it's something that we could, I could, from the police standpoint or from City Hall standpoint, we can push stuff out to our citizens, meeting times, any kind of announcements, road closures, weather, severe weather updates, all this stuff. And everybody, just about 90% of us live on our phones anymore. And not all, but I'd say 90%. And so having that phone app especially, I think, would just, we're almost behind the time, well, we are behind the times that we don't have one, really. And we were looking at about 10,000 for the first year for startup, and then around $5 or $6 grand a year after that for the upkeep and maintenance of it for both. That's for both. And so I just think that they really money well spent. And if we're looking to do stuff that benefits our citizens and the people of the community, and not just tourists, I hear that as a frequent theme in here. And that's certainly something that would be our target audience. Of course, it'd be available for everybody, you wouldn't have to live here, but the main beneficiary of that service would be our citizens. So just something for you guys to think about. We can get that guy back in here anytime y'all are ready and get something rolling on it. But just something to consider. The other thing, as I was struggling to print all this stuff for your packets and get it organized, and Jason was helping me too, at some point today, and realized after going through about a ream of paper for one meeting, I realized that we're like behind the times on this as well. We could be way more efficient and way less, or way more environmentally friendly too, not be killing so many trees here. If there's a way that if you guys have laptops, or if you don't, or a tablet, if you have something, a laptop or a tablet that you could bring to the meeting with you and pull up your documents that have been emailed to you, pull them up on your computer and sit and look at them, it would eliminate the need for a ton of paper and this stuff. We're printing it out, you're looking at it for a few minutes at meeting time, and it's most of it gets chunked in the trash, so we're just wasting. And I think, if somebody didn't have a laptop or computer, I think the city could, for a very small amount, we could get some cheap tablets that would facilitate that you could pull your emails up on. So it's just something to think. Maybe we're spending paper and Gayla's time and energy and efforts to get all this stuff organized and printed out. You don't think about it until you have to actually do it. I didn't realize how much time it took and effort, but it's just another something to think about. It can make it easier for you guys and her too, so.
And ink.
And ink, yeah, ink and paper and the ink, yeah, it's,
I'm open to that.
A suggestion to move to electronic meeting
Here's
documents.
the thing with fireworks.
It's not a municipal code.
In our municipal code, let me cover this. Thanks, Chief Connie, for raising both of those. The city app, we did have a presentation on that. I think commissioners were very interested in it. The cost was a little bit of an issue, but, I think, we did sort of appreciate what that is. And my sense is we need to visit our purchasing requirements to see if that's something we would have to bid out. My sense is that one of the things among our priorities is improving our procedures, and I don't think we have a specific procedure on this. We ought to, but we'll take a look at that and see what our procedure would be for something like that. I know that when things reach a certain threshold, generally it's about $2,500 we have to go and we'll get a bid on it. So, but I'm happy to bring that one back around. I think that one could be useful to our citizens, so we'll bring that back up. And then also your suggestion to move to electronic meeting documents, I think that would be an interesting thing to explore as well. I know a lot of places are doing that. Mr. Aker, what do they do at the county commission? Y'all still working in paper, or you do everything electronic?
So my first term, we were on paper. We do everything electronic now. It's a software program from Granicus that involves our microphones and everything. It's pretty neat. I'm sure it was expensive. I miss the paper. It's very difficult for me anyway, to be doing what I've got to do on the computer in front of me and be working on anything else that we just discussed or we're getting ready to discuss versus paper. But we were having packets 400 pages long at times, and when you do that by 21 commissioners plus the clerk, you've expended some paper. So it was a smart move for the environment, but not so pleasant for anybody that's trying to dig around and see what happened a minute ago or what's getting ready to happen. And, I try to make notes when I'm involved in the meeting about, what another commissioner said, and so I've got to bring all that now, rather than writing it right on what the issue was. So, I mean, there's pros and cons both directions.
I think it's worth exploring. We have constraints, not only paper, but staff time. We try to run a pretty tight ship, as I indicated, city manager / reporter / social media, so, but I think it's a reasonable thing to think about. Okay. And then finally, before we adjourn, we were advised here that we do have a section in our municipal code, Title 7, Fire Protection and Fireworks, so we have something on the books. 701, fireworks prohibited. It shall be unlawful for any person to manufacture, distribute, sell, offer for sale, possess, shoot, fire, explode, or discharge any pyrotechnics commonly known as fireworks within the corporate limits of the municipality, except on July 4th and New Year's Eve, when on your own property or another property with that property owner's permission. All fireworks must cease to be discharged by 11 p.m. So that's our ordinance.
Good job.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Commissioners. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, got a motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.